Fox Business Alert. I know a lot of you have been affected by this AWS situation. New updates this afternoon from Amazon Web Services about its massive overnight outage. Amazon's cloud infrastructure unit first saw outages just a bit after 3 a.m. Eastern time in its main U.S. East 1 region, which is hosted in Northern Virginia. By 6:30 a.m. Eastern, AWS confirmed the issue had been, quote, fully mitigated with most service operations back online. An hour and a half ago, AWS said its internal subsystems are showing early signs of recovering in a few of the availability zones that the U.S. East region, and they do expect launch errors and network connectivity issues to subside. But some companies are still reporting problems, among them Coinbase, but there are reported problems that included Amazon, Disney+, Lyft, McDonald's app, Robinhood, Snapchat, T-Mobile, United Airlines, PayPal's Venmo, Verizon. Anybody else? Coinbase, AWS client facing outages. The crypto trading platform support account posting an update on X just an hour ago, writing, quote, "We are aware that customers are unable to use many core functions of Coinbase, such as trading and transfers, due to ongoing issues with AWS. We will continue to investigate and provide updates here." The stock of Amazon had been down pre-market. It is up now about 1%. But when the cloud goes down like that, no matter the reason, businesses are left scrambling. No one knows that more than OKTA CEO Todd McKinnon, who does exactly what we all need him to do, and that is protect people from this. He joins me live in studio. OKTA has some partnerships with AWS. What can you tell us about what you know regarding this?
Well, I think these critical services are absolute infrastructure for our modern world, and redundancy has to be built in. And companies that are partnering with AWS, OKTA is one of them, we really make sure that we have redundant systems so that even when there is an issue with Amazon, we can stay robust and secure and reliable, because people think about us as identity infrastructure. We power many of the apps people use every day from the identity perspective, and it has to be solid, it has to be up, it has to be reliable.
It sure is nice for you not to be the one everybody's calling and saying, why is this down? But It just shows how vulnerable. I mean, my son, who's a student in college on the West Coast, called and said, Mom, I'm having trouble with some of this. It's really affecting quite a few people. Let's talk about how the systems are working now. You have redundancies. That's expensive, but what's worse, the cost of that or the cost of what's happening right now with AWS? Yeah,
I mean, you have to invest, and you have to invest for many years. It becomes a cultural thing. When you build a company that's providing critical infrastructure, you have to build it into how you interact with customers, how you build your technology, how you support people when there is an issue, how you give them timely information about the status of things. You see regular status updates rolling out anytime there is an issue. I think in some ways, technical issues are inevitable. It's about how we respond to them and how we put double layers in place to make sure that they impact as minimal amount of people as possible.
The systems overall are very stressed on any given day, on a bright blue sky type of day. Right now, we're watching AI infect a lot of the issues that we're talking about and what you have to deal with. Can you tell us some of the newest forms of, I guess, stealing people's credentials through AI? Because this is very worrisome. They are mimicking people, and they're also shaking out people's credentials through the chatbots that many of us are now using. How so?
Well, I think everyone sees the potential in AI. They use ChatGPT, they use Gemini, and they see the amazing amount of informational resource they can provide us. And the latest trend is AI agents, which basically means connecting many accounts up to the chatbot so they can take actions on your behalf. They can access systems, they can provide better responses to you, so they have the context of the information you're used to dealing with.
And these are digital twins, by the way, and you can input all of your information, and then suddenly your life is easier, except that's what the bad guys have figured out.
A simple example is you want an AI agent to book travel for you. You give it access to your calendar, you give it access to your credit card and so forth. It goes around various travel sites and then books a trip for you. And the exploit that can be taken advantage of is now this agent can be tricked into doing things that maybe you wouldn't have done. And that's why it's so important for both consumers and for businesses to have complete visibility into these connections as they're made. One of the biggest challenges today, especially in the enterprise context, is that companies don't know how these systems are connected. They don't know how the agents connect to the back-end systems, which customer data is accessible. And what we're trying to do at OKTA is to give them a complete infrastructure, a cloud security fabric that brings these connections to the surface and makes everyone aware of what's connected to what, so IT and security teams can actually have a chance of making sure it's all secure and reliable.
Yes, it is annoying to have to do multi-factor verification, but you would say what to somebody who says, I just don't want to do that anymore?
Well, I would say we can make it easier as an industry. We can make it easier so you can use biometrics. You can use your fingerprint, or you can just use a Face ID on your iPhone to get you in seamlessly. So I think we have to continuously be striving to make it more seamless to how you connect to technology. And I think we can strike this magic balance between making it secure and easy.
Are you seeing more spending on behalf of your enterprise customers to avoid this kind of issue?
Well, cyber spending is at an all-time high. As an industry, we spend $200 billion a year collectively securing our systems on cybersecurity spending. But when you look at the number of breaches, the number of ransomware attacks, it still keeps going up. So what is the missing factor there? And we believe that we need better identity security. People spend a lot of money on networks and firewalls and endpoint client protection, and we believe identity is the key to making sure this is all more secure, which is why we're out selling to the biggest companies in the world like FedEx and others, this concept of an identity security fabric that can connect everything in the environment, make sure the identities are secure for their customers, their partners, their employees, and now as they add in AI agents, it all stays secure. It's not just the current systems we have today, it's the systems we're trying to build tomorrow that need to be secure.
I don't know if this happens to you, but everybody I talk to, and I am dealing with this as well, I bet a lot of you guys are out there too. My cell phone, my iPhone is getting 50 calls a day from places like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Oradell, New Jersey. And it makes you think, oh, maybe I know this person. And I'm very hesitant to even say hello, because can't they take your voice and deep fake it and use it to trick somebody else? We have seen, there's a case of a woman who lost $15,000 because her voice she was tricked somehow. We've talked to CEOs who their CFOs got calls ostensibly from them, but it wasn't them. It was a deep fake voice and telling them to transfer money.
Yeah, the deepfake technology is getting much better, whether it's voice impersonation or whether it's video impersonation, deepfake videos. The bad guys are using AI just like the rest of us. They're generating these things that look very real. So it's the challenge for people is to be skeptical and double check. So if someone calls you and claims to be, a relative of yours, make sure you text them and say, hey, was that really you calling me? And anytime there's money involved, make sure you triple check.
You're striking a whole bunch of partnerships. You've got one with Salesforce. Just at 30,000 feet, how's your business doing?
Business is strong, and I think it's because of this concept of identity security is so important to customers, is so important to companies as they not only embrace and extend all of the technology they have today, but also embrace the next wave of technology, which is this agentic future. People are trying to deploy these AI agents, connect it to more systems, and that's what we can help them do, and in a way that's secure and derives business value.
I know they're telling me to wrap, but we've got a government shutdown. And under the best case situation, it is very hard to keep all the data that the government has secure. You've got Department of Defense contracts, things like that. Do you worry that fewer people, in fact, almost nobody working at this point, and this is disconcerting.
Yeah, when we look at the government, we zoom out and think about the challenge the government has. It's really a technology evolution challenge. Over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, they have to invest a lot of money in upgrading these critical identity technologies.
But nobody's doing anything. We've got Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor right now, and they all keep saying no to each vote that would end the government shutdown, which only gums up the system more.
Well, when it's all resolved, as it will be resolved, technology is going to be a big part of it, and identity is going to be a foundation of the technology, and that's why we're very bullish on working with the government to help them be secure and help them to get value out of their systems, which is what we try to do for everyone.
Well, you keep Fox secure. I always tell you, we use OKTA. Good to see you, Todd.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.